Welcome to my channel, Old Valuable Coins. Today we are going to explore some interesting and collectible Jefferson nickel coins that many people may still have in their pockets, coin jars, or old collections. These coins of 5 cents 1990 D coin, the 5 cents 1980 D coin, the 5 cents 1991 D coin, and the 5 cents 1970 D coin. At first glance, these coins may look ordinary, but collectors know that small details, mint marks, condition, and rare minting errors can make them surprisingly valuable. So stay with me until the end of the video because one of these coins could be worth much more than its face value. Let's begin with the 5 cents 1990 D coin. The 5 cents 1990 D coin is a United States nickel that belongs to the long-running Jefferson nickel series, one of the most recognizable and widely collected coin series in American numismatics. This coin was produced in 1990 at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin to the right of Thomas Jefferson's portrait. The Jefferson nickel series first began in 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel, and since then the design has remained a familiar part of everyday American currency. The 1990 D5 cents coin represents a modern issue in this historic series and was struck during a time when billions of coins were being produced to support daily commerce across the United States. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson's portrait on the nickel was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a design competition organized by the United States Mint in 1938. His design has remained the foundation of the Jefferson nickel for decades. On the 1990 D coin, Jefferson faces left, and above his head appears the word Liberty. To the right of the portrait is the inscription, "In God We Trust," a phrase that appears on most United States coins and reflects the nation's long-standing tradition of including this motto on currency. Just beside Jefferson's shoulder appears the year 1990. And slightly below or near the date is a small D mint mark that indicates the coin was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The reverse side of the 1990 D nickel displays an image of Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's famous plantation home located in Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello is an architectural masterpiece designed by Jefferson himself and is recognized as a symbol of American history and heritage. On the coin, Monticello is shown in a detailed but compact engraving that captures its domed roof, columns, and balanced structure. Above the building appears the inscription, E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many one, symbolizing the unity of the states in the United States of America. Below the building is the word Monticello, and beneath that appears the denomination 5 cents. Along the bottom edge of the coin is the inscription, United States of America. The 1990 D5 cents coin was struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition that has been standard for the Jefferson nickel since 1946. The coin contains 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance while maintaining durability for circulation. The coin has a diameter of 21.21 millimeters and weighs approximately 5 grams. The edge of the coin is smooth, which is typical for nickels. Because of its strong copper-nickel composition, the coin is resistant to corrosion and wear, which helps many examples survive in good condition even after years of circulation. In terms of production, the Denver Mint produced a very large number of 1990 D nickels to meet the needs of everyday transactions. The official mintage of the 1990 D5 cents coin was over 1 billion pieces. Because of this extremely high mintage, the coin is considered very common in circulated condition and can still occasionally be found in pocket change or coin rolls today. Most circulated examples are generally worth only their face value of 5 cents. However, collectors are often interested in coins in an exceptionally well-preserved condition, particularly those graded in mint state by professional grading services. Mint state examples of the 1990 D nickel can sometimes command slightly higher prices depending on their grade and quality. Coins graded MS65 or higher may attract collectors who are building high-quality Jefferson nickel sets. Additionally, coins that display full details on the steps of Monticello, known among collectors as full steps nickels, are especially desirable. The steps of Monticello are located at the base of the building on the reverse side of the coin, and on many coins these steps appear weak or incomplete because of striking pressure or die wear. When a coin shows all the steps clearly separated and well defined, it can significantly increase the coin's desirability and value among collectors. Like many modern coins, the 1990 D nickel can also sometimes be found with mint errors or varieties that may make it more valuable than a normal coin. Error coins occur during the minting process and may include features such as off-center strikes, double strikes, clip planchets, or die cracks. Although these errors are relatively rare, collectors often search through rolls of coins hoping to find unusual examples. A 1990 D nickel with a dramatic mint error could potentially be worth several dollars or even more depending on the rarity and visual appeal of the error. The coin also holds historical significance as part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series, which reflects decades of American economic and cultural history. From the late 1930s through the modern era, Jefferson nickels have circulated through countless hands, representing everyday commerce in the United States. Even though the 1990 D nickel itself may not be considered rare, it still forms an important piece of the larger story of American coinage. Many collectors enjoy assembling complete sets of Jefferson nickels from 1938 to present, and coins like the 1990 D serve as essential pieces in those collections. The condition of a coin plays a crucial role in determining its value. Circulated examples of the 1990 D nickel usually show signs of wear, such as flattened details on Jefferson's hair and cheek or reduced sharpness in the Monticello building. Uncirculated coins, on the other hand, retain their original mint luster and sharp design details. These coins were either preserved directly after minting or stored carefully over the years. Professional grading services evaluate coins using a numerical scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers indicating better preservation. A 1990 D nickel graded near the top of the scale could potentially command a higher price among specialized collectors. Another aspect that collectors often examine is the quality of the strike and the brightness of the original mint luster. Well-struck coins display sharp details in Jefferson's hair, the lettering, and the architectural lines of Monticello. Bright, reflective surfaces can also enhance the coin's eye appeal. Even though the coin was produced in huge quantities, finding an example with exceptional strike quality and nearly flawless surfaces can still be challenging, which is why high-grade examples are sometimes sought after in the collector market. Over time, the Jefferson nickel series has undergone several design adjustments. Now let's talk about the 5 cents 1980 D coin. The 5 cents 1980 D coin is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series in the United States. This coin was struck in the year 1980 at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin next to the date. The Jefferson nickel series first began in 1938 when the United States Mint decided to replace the Buffalo nickel with a new design that would honor Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Since its introduction, the Jefferson nickel has become one of the most recognizable coins in American currency, circulating widely in everyday commerce for many decades. The 1980 D nickel represents one of the later issues of the classic Jefferson design that remained largely unchanged for most of the 20th century. The obverse side of the 1980 D 5 cents coin features a portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. The portrait was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose design was selected by the United States Mint in a competition held in 1938. Schlag's portrait of Jefferson became one of the most enduring designs in American coinage history. On the coin, Jefferson's profile is shown with clear detail in his hair, forehead, and facial features. Above Jefferson's head appears the word Liberty, which is a traditional inscription used on United States coins to represent the nation's founding ideals. Next to the word Liberty is a small star followed by the date 1980, indicating the year the coin was minted. On the right side of Jefferson's portrait is the phrase, "In God We Trust," the official motto of the United States that appears on most American coins and paper currency. Just beside the date is the mint mark D, which indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint in Colorado, one of the major facilities responsible for producing circulating coinage in the United States. The reverse side of the coin features a detailed image of Monticello, the historic home of Thomas Jefferson located in Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello was designed by Jefferson himself and is considered one of the most important examples of neoclassical architecture in the United States. The building is shown on the reverse with its recognizable dome, symmetrical structure, and rows of columns. Above the building appears the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. This motto reflects the unity of the original states that formed the United States. Beneath the building appears the word Monticello, identifying Jefferson's famous estate. Below that is a denomination 5 cents, clearly indicating the coin's value. Along the bottom rim of the coin appears the inscription, United States of America, identifying the country that issued the coin. The 1980 D nickel was produced using the standard copper-nickel-clad composition that has been used for United States nickels since the mid-20th century. The coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This combination of metals gives the coin its silver-gray color and provides durability, so that the coin can withstand years of circulation without severe damage. The coin weighs approximately 5 grams and has a diameter of about 21.21 millimeters. Its edge is smooth rather than reeded, which is a common characteristic of the Jefferson nickel series. During 1980, the Denver Mint produced a very large number of these nickels to meet the needs of daily commerce across the United States. The mintage of the 1980 D5 cents coin exceeded 700 million pieces. Because such a large quantity of coins was produced, the 1980 D nickel is considered a common coin in circulated condition. Many of these coins entered circulation immediately after being minted and were used by millions of Americans in everyday transactions such as buying food, paying for transportation, or receiving change from stores. Even decades later, some examples can still be found in circulation or in coin collections around the world. Although the coin is common, collectors still find interest in the 1980 D nickel for several reasons. Many coin collectors enjoy building complete sets of Jefferson nickels from 1938 to the present. In such collections, each year and mint mark combination represents a different coin, so the 1980 D nickel is an important piece needed to complete a full set. Because of this, collectors often search for the best possible example of the coin, preferably one that has never circulated and still retains its original mint luster. Coins that remain in uncirculated condition are known as mint state coins. These coins show no signs of wear and often display bright, reflective surfaces along with sharp design details. Professional grading companies evaluate coins using a scale from 1 to 70, with higher numbers representing better condition. A typical circulated 1980 D nickel is usually worth only its face value of 5 cents, but a well-preserved mint state example may be worth slightly more to collectors, especially if it has exceptional eye appeal or strong strike quality. One feature that collectors often look for in Jefferson nickels is the detail on the steps of the Monticello building on the reverse side. At the base of the building, there are several horizontal steps leading up to the entrance. On many coins, these steps appear weak or partially blended together because of die wear or insufficient striking pressure during the minting process. However, when all the steps are clearly visible and fully separated, collectors refer to the coin as having full steps. Coins with full steps are considered more desirable because they indicate a very strong strike during production. A 1980 D nickel with clear full steps and a high mint state grade can sometimes be more valuable than an ordinary example. Like many coins, a 1980 D nickel may also occasionally be found with mint errors or unusual varieties created during the minting process. Mint errors can occur when something goes wrong during production. Examples include off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned, double strikes where the coin is struck more than once, clipped planchets where part of the metal blank is missing, or die cracks where lines appear across the surface of the coin. These types of errors are generally rare, but when they are discovered, they can attract strong interest from collectors who specialize in mint error coins. The coin also reflects the broader history of American coinage during the late 20th century. By 1980, the United States Mint had already produced billions of Jefferson nickels over several decades, making the series one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. Throughout this time, the design remained largely unchanged, which allowed collectors to easily recognize and organize the coins by year and mint mark. The 1980 D nickel therefore represents a continuation of a design tradition that began more than 40 years earlier in 1938. Another interesting aspect of the 1980 D nickel is its connection to everyday American life. Coins such as this one circulated widely through banks, stores, vending machines, and businesses across the country. For many people, the nickel was simply small change. Yet for collectors, it represents a piece of historical craftsmanship produced by the United States Mint. Each coin was carefully struck using. Next, we have the 5 cents 1991 D coin. The 5 cents 1991 D coin is a United States nickel that belongs to the famous Jefferson nickel series, one of the longest-running coin designs in the history of American currency. This coin was produced in 1991 at the Denver Mint, which is represented by the small D mint mark that appears on the obverse side of the coin next to the date. The Jefferson nickel series first began in 1938, when the United States Mint replaced the Buffalo nickel with a new design honoring Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the most important figures in American history. Since that time, the Jefferson nickel has remained a regular part of circulation, used daily by millions of people across the country. The 1991 D nickel represents a modern issue from this historic series and reflects a continuation of a design that had already been in use for more than 50 years. The obverse of the 1991 D 5 cents coin displays the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. This portrait was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose design was selected in a national competition organized by the United States Mint in the late 1930s. Schlag's design became the official image of the Jefferson nickel and remained largely unchanged for decades. On the obverse side, Jefferson's profile is shown with detailed hair and facial features. Above the portrait appears the word liberty, which represents the central ideals upon which the United States was founded. Next to the word liberty, there is a small star followed by the date 1991, indicating the year the coin was minted. To the right of Jefferson's portrait appears the phrase, "In God We Trust," which is the official motto of the United States and has appeared on American coins for many years. Just beside the date is the mint mark D, identifying the Denver Mint as a facility where this coin was produced. The reverse side of the 1991 D nickel features a detailed image of Monticello, the historic plantation home of Thomas Jefferson, located in Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello was designed by Jefferson himself and is recognized as an architectural masterpiece influenced by classical European styles. On the coin, the building is shown with its recognizable dome and symmetrical structure. The engraving attempts to capture the important architectural features of the building even within the small space of a 5-cent coin. Above the image of Monticello appears a Latin motto, E pluribus unum, which means out of many one. This phrase symbolizes the unity of the states that together form the United States of America. Beneath the building appears the word Monticello, identifying the structure on the coin. Below that is a denomination 5 cents, indicating the coin's monetary value. Along the lower edge of the reverse appears the inscription, United States of America. The 1991 D nickel was struck using the standard copper-nickel alloy that has been used for United States nickels since 1946. The coin contains 75% copper and 25% nickel. This mixture gives the coin its silver-colored appearance, while also providing strength and durability, so that the coin can survive years of circulation. The coin has a diameter of approximately 21.21 millimeters and a weight of about 5 grams. Its edge is smooth rather than reeded, which is typical for nickels in the United States coinage system. Because of its durable metal composition, many examples of the 1991 D nickel have remained in relatively good condition even after decades of use. In terms of production numbers, the Denver Mint produced an extremely large quantity of 1991 D nickels. More than 1 billion coins were struck at the Denver facility during that year. Because the mintage was so high, the coin is considered very common in circulated condition. Millions of these coins were distributed to banks and businesses across the United States, where they quickly entered everyday circulation. People use them in routine transactions such as purchasing small items, receiving change from stores, or using vending machines. Even today, many examples still exist in circulation or in coin jars and collections. Although the 1991 D nickel is common, it still holds importance for coin collectors who are building complete Jefferson nickel collections. In a typical collection, each year and mint mark combination represents a separate coin. As a result, collectors often search for a well-preserved example of the 1991 D nickel to include in their sets. While circulated coins are easy to find, uncirculated coins that still display their original mint luster are often more desirable. These coins are known as mint state coins because they show no signs of wear from circulation. Professional coin grading companies evaluate coins using a numerical grading scale that ranges from 1 to 70. Coins graded closer to 70 are considered to be in nearly perfect condition. A typical circulated 1991 D nickel is usually worth only its face value of 5 cents, but coins that remain in mint state condition can be worth a small premium to collectors, especially if they have strong strike quality and excellent eye appeal. The bright luster and sharp details of an uncirculated coin often make it more attractive to collectors than coins that have been heavily used. One particular feature that collectors pay close attention to on Jefferson nickels is the detail of the steps at the base of the Monticello building on the reverse side. These steps appear directly below the main structure and consist of several thin horizontal lines. On many coins, these steps appear weak or partially merged together because of die wear or insufficient striking pressure during the minting process. However, when the steps appear fully separated and clearly defined, collectors refer to the coin as having full steps. Coins with full steps are considered special because they indicate a strong strike during the minting process. A 1991 D nickel that displays full steps and a high mint state grade can sometimes be more valuable than a typical example. Like many coins produced by the United States Mint, the 1991 D nickel can occasionally be found with mint errors or unusual varieties. Mint errors occur when something unexpected happens during the production process. Examples may include off-center strikes where the design is not perfectly aligned, double strikes where the coin is struck more than once, clipped planchets where part of the metal blank is missing, or die cracks that create raised lines across the surface of the coin. Although these errors are relatively rare, collectors often search through rolls of nickels hoping to find unusual or valuable examples. The 1991 D nickel also represents an important period in the long history of the Jefferson nickel series. During the late 20th century, the design of the nickel remained mostly unchanged, preserving the original artistic vision created by Felix Schlag decades earlier. This consistency allowed collectors to easily recognize and organize coins within the series. It was not until the early 2000s that significant design changes occurred when the United States Mint introduced special commemorative designs to celebrate the Lewis and Clark expedition. Later, in 2006, the obverse portrait of Jefferson was redesigned with a new forward-facing image. Because of these later changes, coins like the 1991 D nickel represent the traditional appearance of the Jefferson nickel that circulated throughout most of the 20th century. Finally, let's look at the 5 cents 1970 D coin. The 5 cents 1970 D coin is a United States nickel that belongs to the long-running Jefferson nickel series. This coin was struck in 1970 at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small D mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin next to the date. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, when the United States Mint replaced the Buffalo nickel with a new design honoring Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the most influential figures in American history. The introduction of the Jefferson nickel marked an important change in American coinage, shifting from a Native American and buffalo imagery of the previous design to a tribute to a key founder of the nation. By the time the 1970 D coin was produced, the Jefferson nickel had already been circulating for more than 3 decades and had become one of the most familiar coins in everyday American commerce. The obverse side of the 1970 D 5 cents coin features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. This portrait was designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, whose design was selected in a competition held by the United States Mint in 1938. Schlag's design captured Jefferson with a dignified and thoughtful appearance, and the portrait remained essentially unchanged on the nickel for many decades. On the coin, Jefferson's head faces to the left, with detailed hair and strong facial features that represent the classical artistic style used in American coinage during the 20th century. Above Jefferson's portrait appears the word liberty, a term that symbolizes the founding ideals of the United States. Next to the word liberty appears a small star followed by the year 1970, indicating the year the coin was minted. On the right side of Jefferson's portrait appears the phrase, "In God We Trust," which has been the official motto of the United States and appears on most American coins and currency. Near the date is the mint mark D, which identifies the Denver Mint as a facility where the coin was produced. The reverse side of the 1970 D nickel displays a detailed engraving of Monticello, the historic home of Thomas Jefferson located in Charlottesville, Virginia. Monticello was designed by Jefferson himself and reflects his interest in classical architecture and European design influences. The building is famous for its symmetrical layout, columns, and central dome, all of which are represented in miniature form on the coin's reverse. Above the image of Monticello appears the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," which means out of many one. This phrase reflects the idea that the United States was formed by the union of many individual states coming together as one nation. Beneath the building appears the word Monticello, clearly identifying Jefferson's famous estate. Below that is a denomination 5 cents, which indicates the coin's value. Along the lower rim of the reverse side appears the inscription, United States of America, identifying the country that issued the coin. The 1970 D nickel was struck using the standard copper-nickel alloy composition that has been used for United States nickels since the end of World War II. The coin contains 75% copper and 25% nickel. This mixture provides a strong and durable coin that can withstand years of handling and circulation. The coin has a diameter of approximately 21.21 millimeters and weighs about 5 grams. The edge of the coin is smooth rather than reeded, which is typical for nickels in the United States. Because of the durable composition of copper and nickel, many examples of the 1970 D coin have survived decades of circulation without severe damage. In 1970, the Denver Mint produced a very large number of these coins in order to meet the demand for a small denomination currency in the United States. The mintage of the 1970 D 5 cents coin exceeded 500 million pieces. Because such a large quantity was produced, the coin is considered very common today. Millions of these coins entered circulation immediately after being minted and were used in everyday transactions throughout the country. People received them as change in stores, used them in vending machines, and carried them in their pockets for daily purchases. Even today, it is still possible to find examples of the 1970 D nickel in circulation or in old coin jars in collections. Although the coin is common, it still holds interest for coin collectors who study the Jefferson nickel series. Many collectors attempt to assemble complete sets of Jefferson nickels from the first year of issue in 1938 to the present day. In such collections, each year and mint mark combination represents a different coin, so the 1970 D nickel is an essential piece needed to complete the set. Collectors often look for coins in the best possible condition, especially examples that remain in uncirculated or mint state condition. Mint state coins are coins that show no wear from circulation and still retain their original mint luster. These coins were usually saved shortly after being produced and were not used in everyday transactions. Professional coin grading companies evaluate coins using a numerical scale that ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded near 70 is considered to be in nearly perfect condition, while a typical circulated 1970 D nickel is usually worth only its face value of 5 cents. High-grade uncirculated examples may be worth slightly more to collectors, particularly if the coin has bright luster, sharp details, and minimal surface marks. One of the most important features collectors look for in Jefferson nickels is the quality of the strike on the steps of the Monticello building. At the base of Monticello, there are several horizontal steps leading up to the entrance. On many coins, these steps appear faint or blended together because of dye, wear, or insufficient striking pressure during the minting process. However, when all the steps are clearly visible and sharply defined, collectors refer to the coin as having full steps. Coins with full steps are considered more desirable because they indicate a strong strike from fresh dyes during the minting process. A 1970 D nickel with full steps and a high mint state grade can sometimes be more valuable than a typical example. Another interesting aspect of the 1970 D nickel is the possibility of mint errors or unusual varieties. Mint errors occur when something unexpected happens during the production of a coin. Examples of such errors include off-center strikes where the design is not properly aligned, double strikes where the coin is struck more than once, clipped planchets where a portion of the metal blank is missing, or die cracks. Coins from the Jefferson nickel series remain one of the most popular areas of coin collecting because they are widely available, historically interesting, and sometimes surprisingly valuable. Even coins from the 1970s, 1980s, and 1990s can become desirable if they are preserved in excellent condition or if they show rare minting mistakes. So if you have old nickels stored away at home, it might be a good idea to examine them closely. You never know when you might discover a hidden treasure. Thank you for watching Old Valuable Coins. If you enjoy learning about rare and valuable coins from around the world, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another exciting coin story. I'll see you in the next video where we explore more fascinating coins that could be hiding in everyday change.